How's it going out there, YouTube? My name is Jesse and I'm back for another Golden Age Spotlight video. If this is your first time seeing these videos for the entire month of June, I am doing nothing but patriotic superheroes as I'm leading myself down to the 4th of July, where I will cover the first patriotic superhero in the comic books. And today I bring you two more superheroes. Now, women were, in part, patriotic superheroes as well. There were a number of females who were patriotic, as you saw when I did Patriot Pat. Yeah, I think that was right. Anyways, this time I'm going to be covering two more females. The two that I'm going to be covering is Miss Victory and Yankee Girl. Miss Victory is in fact considered to be the first patriotic heroine, which is female heroine, in the comic books, and Yankee Girl came out at the tail end of the Golden Age, just about the time that the war was ending. But they're both patriotic superheroes and we'll be covering them on this list. So let's cover Miss Victory and Yankee Girl. Miss Victory, Jonah Wayne, first appeared in Captain Fearless comics in 1941, which was originally produced by Henlet Comics. She would appear on the first and second issue, which were the only appearances of the Captain Fearless comic. Later, Holyoke Publishing would take over the Captain Arrow publication from Henlet, and she would start to appear as a backup feature in the Captain Arrow comics. She would appear in all of those issues until they came out with their final issue. She would later be revived by AC Comics on the Fem4 Special number 1 in 1984. There is no official origin story to how Miss Victory got her powers that she seemed to have. She was able to survive explosions, break free of ropes, and knock down walls. So it is clear that she had some superhuman strength and durability. Let's see, Jonah Wayne in the original 1940 started off as a stenographer working for the government department. After seeing too many crooked politicians, she decided to don on a costume and help out the FBI. She had on a tight-fitting red, white, and blue costume with a V that was on her chest, and she would be known as the superhero Miss Victory. When Miss Victory would be revived for the AC Comics in 1984, her costumes was wildly different from the original. It would still be red, white, and blue, but came with a long V-neck, which showed off more of her physique. In this version, she was also able to fly, being added to her super strength and durability, and this time she would be a scientist that worked for the United States Department of Defense, also known as the DoD. She was tasked with creating a formula, with this story being in the 1940s, tasked with making a formula for the Allied troops so they would be able to take over the Axis powers. The formula was only able to work on herself, and then that is how she became Miss Victory. The formula also seemed to stop her from aging, so in the 1980s, where she was revived as part of Fem4, she would still be as young as she was back then. She would take a variation of the formula that would turn her into a supervillain, but eventually that would get reversed and she would go back to being Miss Victory. She would retire in the 90s and her daughter would take over as the second Miss Victory, because the formula would work on her daughter the same way it worked on her, because the genes were the same. Later on, her daughter would take the souped up version of the formula and become the, well, costumer known as Rad, but she wasn't the villain, more of an anti-hero, and Jonah would return back as Mrs. Victory, and she would be a part of FemForce until the AC Comics would come to an end. Now, there were two superheroines known as Yankee Girl in the 1940s. The first one was someone named Kitty Kelly. She appeared as part of Four Stars Publications' Captain Flight Comics number 8. The original artist and writer are unknown. She would make another appearance in issue number 9, where the writer was still unknown, but the penciler was Maurice Whitman and the inker was Anna Brewster. She would then appear in Red Seal's comic number 17 under Dynamite Publications, where she wasn't being referred to as Yankee Girl anymore, just a superheroine with the name of Kitty Kelly. The next heroine that would appear as Yankee Girl would be Lorene Mason, who would appear in Dynamite Comics number 23 in 1947, Dynamic Comics number 23 in 1947, still part of Dynamic Publications. The original writer was unknown, and there would be reprints of her comics that would come out as part of IW Publications in the 1950s and 60s. She wasn't given an original origin story for her powers when she came out in the 1940s, but she would be revived by AC comic books in the 90s and become part of the FemForce, and that is when they would expand her powers to show how she got her powers in the first place. In the original 1947 story, Lorene Mason was able to say the words Yankee Doodle Dandy, and she would transform into Yankee Girl. She would gain super speed and strength, the ability to fly, enhanced her ability, and it was possible that she might have been invulnerable. It wasn't until she was revived in the 1990s that it was shown that her powers was given to her by the wizard Merlin. She went as a volunteer to be put into suspended animation along with a number of other heroes so that she could be revived in the future to help out, where she would become part of FemForce. She and the heroes that would all undergo this transformation were referred to as the Vault Champions. In the 1940s, all she had to do was say Yankee Doodle Dandy to be given her powers. In the 1990 revised versions, her magic words were changed to Kamara Mardun Tolan. This would instantly change her clothing and give her her powers, where she would have the ability to lift 9,000 pounds, become almost impervious to harm, and had the ability to fly. She apparently can also survive in outer space without any protection. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. It's not the 4th of July yet, so I've got more patriotic superheroes on the way. Not going to be able to cover all of them, but we'll cover what we can as we're leading up to the 4th of July. So, until the next time, I'll be seeing you.